Covering the islands of the Bahamas, ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight.
This portion of the news is brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
Good evening and welcome to the Bahamas Tonight, the National Report. I'm Keishla Adderley. Thanks so much for joining us. Topping the news tonight, Prime Minister the Right Honorable Perry Christie says the upcoming budget debate will be crucial in determining how his administration will execute its campaign commitments, including those placed on a 100-day timeline. Our Clint Watson talked to the men linked closest to the country's finances about what will happen in the lead-up to the budget presentation.
Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, the Right Honorable Perry Christie, has assembled, in his view, a strong top team to administrate and manage the country's money. His state minister is Michael Halkitis. Consultant is former Finance State Minister and former Central Bank Governor James Smith. There's also a State Minister of Investments, Kailash Roll, and a Minister of Financial Services, Ryan Pinder. Financial analysts predict with a diverse team at the helm, significant inroads are bound to be made. State Minister Halkitis will get the briefing from experts working in the ministry and report to his colleagues.
As we know, the economy is one of the tremendous challenges. So our challenge is going to be to grow the economy, to grow the amount of money that's coming into the economy so that we can provide the services that the Bahamian people require. And so first of all, the business is to get a status report, see where we're at, and then begin to put in place a plan to grow the economy, create some employment, and through doing that, reduce some of the deficits and begin to attack the debt situation.
Minister Halkitis believes the way out of the recession is by growing the economy.
Increasing the number of visitors that come here, increasing the number of new businesses that can be started by giving them incentives. And when we have more business started, we get more people employed, and so the economy gets moving. So we think it's doable. It's not going to be done overnight.
As Minister of State for Investments, Kailash Roll believes efficiency will be critical in attracting new money.
One of the first things I said to the staff at the ministry is that we're going to try and navigate the bureaucratic maze. We're going to keep that at a minimum, and we're going to keep politics out of the decision making. We have a lot of work to do, and my staff is excited about doing that work, and they're excited that somebody that understands where this thing needs to go is now at the helm of that ministry.
Financial Services Minister Ryan Pinder says his ministry will focus on the industry itself as it is the bedrock of our economy. Pinder says there's a need for progress reforms, as he says the country has slipped in ratings over the past 5 years. And with a high foreign labor force in this industry, the new Financial Services Minister is also looking to provide more opportunities for Bahamians.
We all know it's the second prong of our economy, but it also provides a number of well-paying jobs for Bahamians. And we want to encourage all Bahamians to get involved in financial services, especially those that are overseas. We want opportunities for them to come home, be involved in the industry, expand the industry, and provide growth for our country.
Key to this administration executing its campaign promises will be hinged on its success in managing the public purse. Clint Watson, ZNS News.
Minister of Labor and National Insurance Shane Gibson also has the responsibility of overseeing the public service. Speaking to Labor and the public service, he told us there are many issues and grievances he must give immediate attention to.
With Immigration and Customs, a couple of the trade unions, we have some issues with the Industrial Tribunal, where it is not, in the opinion of the persons who go there every day to represent workers, it's not as effective as it could be. We have some issues in the public service, trying to bring about some reform in the public service. We have many issues throughout the country. My ministry has happened to be one of those where we touch many lives. And so we had outlined an agenda that we intend to carry out on our platform, and hopefully during the next 100 days we set some goals, and we'll be looking to do some of those things.
The new minister with responsibility for Bahamas Air is committing to making the airline the carrier of choice not only locally but internationally. During a formal introduction to management and staff, Deputy Prime Minister Philip Brave Davis, along with his parliamentary colleague Renwood Wells, toured Bahamas Air's head office and facilities at the airport. Carla Palmer tells us that Minister Davis outlined the national flag carrier's current financial position and his plans for the airline's future.
Deputy Prime Minister the Honorable Philip Davis, who has responsibility for Bahamas Air, is looking to confront issues at the national flag carrier head-on. He says there are quite a few at the forefront.
I'm aware that you have issues with labor, with contracts having been expired for more than 2 years. I know there are challenges with the fleet, the aging of the fleet.
Mr. Davis's goal remains the same as his predecessors, to make Bahamas Air a more profitable airline. So far, that has been an elusive goal, with Bahamas Air reportedly still losing as much as $21 million a year. And the overall deficit, much, much more than that.
We are concerned about what we are finding out to be the deficit to date. During the course of our campaign and having regard to what we were observing, we anticipated a deficit in the neighborhood of 300 million. And it is appearing now that it's going to be much more than that.
For years now, Bahamas Air has been considered a cash cow, continually subsidized by the government. In moving the national flag carrier away from its present course and pushing it on the right track, out of the red and into the black, the Deputy Prime Minister says the government could be forced to do something it didn't want to.
It means that we'll have to borrow sufficient to cover the deficit. And it may very well mean that we'll have to, the initiatives that we have initiatives that we had planned to implement within the next fiscal period, we'll have to visit them to see which of those we scale back on and which of those we place more emphasis on. The two areas that we will not compromise on will be crime and creating jobs.
Asked whether privatization of Bahamas Air was in the pipeline, Mr. Davis says the government will first have to look at the benefits. Carla Palmer, ZNS News.
Well, there were more tours and introductions today. Minister of Education, Science and Technology, the Honorable Jerome Fitzgerald, toured two of the country's post-secondary institutions. Cyan Thompson joined him on his tour of BTVI and the College of the Bahamas.
Minister of Education, Science and Technology, the Honorable Jerome Fitzgerald, hit the ground running by getting acquainted with staff of various educational institutions, including the Bahamas Technical and Vocational Institute. From the computer labs to the auto mechanic department, cosmetology, carpentry, and others, the Education Minister had an opportunity to see the progress made.
The foundation is definitely in place for us to improve and put the financial resources and the human resources behind what is going on here.
It was then on to the College of the Bahamas, where he was greeted by Acting President Dr. Erla Carey Baines. Minister Fitzgerald told the faculty that he felt at home as he served for 5 years on the council. The minister said he was disappointed that some of the recommendations they gave were not put in place. He had this to say about future plans.
When the PLP government is committed to making sure that the college becomes a university, we have a belief, a fundamental belief that no great city is developed without a premier tertiary learning institution. The board will be announced probably tomorrow. So we'll have the board in place in time, the new board I should say, in place in time for the graduation. And I think that you will be very surprised, first of all, but pleased, very pleased at the caliber and the type of personnel that we're gonna put.
The visits are just some planned for the Minister of Science, Technology and Education during his tenure. Reporting from the College of the Bahamas, Cyan Thompson, ZNS News.
The 4 new Free National Movement senators were sworn in today. Senator Desmond Bannister will head the group as leader of opposition business in the upper chamber. Former Deputy House Speaker Kwesi Thompson, former State Finance Minister Shirago Lang, and newcomer to frontline politics Heather Hunt have also been selected to serve. The group was sworn in during a ceremony at Government House this afternoon. We spoke to opposition leader Dr. Hubert Minnis about the selection and with the new senators about the term ahead.
I can reveal that we are very, very methodical, and the PLP, they feel that they have an advantage in both the Senate and Parliament because of the numbers. But I can assure you that the numbers would mean nothing. We would be very prepared. We would constantly meet. So we would discuss matters before we go into Parliament. Everyone would know exactly what their role are and what they're going to debate, what issues. And I think the public would be very, very pleased. So if the PLP think they're coming and they're just row, they better be ready.
We intend to go into the Senate and to ensure that the commitments, the promises that were made by this new government become commitments by them. That is, that whatever promises they made to the Bahamian people, we hold them to it. And we ensure that they are carried out and that whatever was promised becomes a firm commitment by the government.
The Progressive Liberal Party made many promises. And they have given themselves a timetable. They said they will be ready on day one. And they also gave themselves a timetable of 100 days. We will be continuing to watch. We are watching in particular the recent comments that were made by Moody in terms of the mortgage scheme. We're going to look at that and see how that, whether it needs to be adjusted.
I also expect fully to hold this administration accountable for its promises, delivery, and execution of its tenure in office.
As a woman and as a young person, I represent really the vast majority of voters in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. So yes, it is a responsibility, but at the same time, I will definitely speak for the majority of voters, and I take that responsibility very seriously.
Leader of the official opposition, the Honorable Dr. Hubert Minnis, says the Free National Movement is preparing for the pending by-election in the North Abaco constituency. He responded today to Progressive Liberal Party confidence in a victory in the seat, considering that it's now in government.
The team from Abaco would campaign. We would carry teams from New Providence and other parts of the Bahamas to ensure that we maintain that seat. I think that would be one of my first tests. North Abaco has always been a FNMC. You must remember that we felt the same way in Elizabeth, and we were beaten, though by the courts, not at the ballot box. But we will beat them at the ballot box, not at the court. If it comes to the court, elections are won at the ballot, not at the courts. And I think Mr. Christie would just be surprised. This would be his first defeat under me.
Well, still to come in the Bahamas tonight, a dramatic turn of events in the court this morning. We'll tell you about it coming up.